Aaron Rodgers surprised the football world this afternoon with an appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast, a lengthy 3-hour episode that was released earlier today. Naturally, as soon as it dropped, I skimmed through the entire thing to bring you the key takeaways from what turned out to be a fascinating, albeit unexpected, conversation. Now, before you get too excited hoping for big football revelations, let me just say right off the bat, Rodgers did not talk about the NFL. Not 1 minute. Not a single sentence about free agency, training camp, or his future with any team. And yet, there's still something significant buried in that conversation that could explain what's been going on behind the scenes and why his potential move to Pittsburgh remains up in the air. What we got instead of football talk was exactly the kind of off-the-field dialogue we've come to expect from Rodgers over the past couple of years. The episode was a mix of his thoughts on vaccines, discussions about extraterrestrial life, some pretty wild stories involving political and societal conspiracies, and long exchanges on everything from Elon Musk to health freedom. It was clear early on that this wasn't going to be a sports interview. And honestly, it felt like Rodgers laid it all out to Rogan before the microphones even turned on. No football, no talk about free agency. Just an open mic to speak his mind about everything else in the world. Now, for Steelers fans clinging to every bit of hope about Rodgers possibly donning black and gold next season, this podcast wasn't the source of clarity they were hoping for. He didn't give any indication about when or if he's planning to sign with a team, let alone the Steelers. But for those paying attention, there was one moment that offered a glimpse into the personal battles Rodgers has been facing. Battles that might be keeping him from stepping back onto the field. At one point in the conversation, while discussing health issues and the broader state of the world, Rodgers briefly touched on something incredibly personal. He mentioned that people close to him are dealing with cancer. It was subtle but powerful. He didn't go into details, didn't name anyone, but he did say he's been in the weeds with people in his life who are currently fighting the disease. That one comment explained a lot, especially when you connect it with his previous appearance on the Pat McAfee show, where he vaguely mentioned personal issues without elaborating. This time, we got a bit more context, and it's serious. This revelation gives a much clearer picture of what's likely been holding Rodgers back this offseason. When someone in your life is going through something as heavy and life-altering as cancer, it's no surprise that football would take a backseat. There's no timeline on grief, on support, or on healing, and you can't exactly shift your focus to game plans and playbooks when people you love are fighting for their lives. That kind of stress and emotional weight isn't something you can just compartmentalize. So when you think about why Rodgers hasn't signed anywhere yet, especially with training activities and minicamps right around the corner, this adds a layer of understanding. Sure, Steelers OTA sessions are scheduled to kick off very soon, and yes, minicamp is set for mid-June, but if Rodgers is still in the thick of dealing with a deeply personal family situation, it's entirely reasonable for him to wait. That said, of course fans want him there. Everyone knows the earlier a quarterback gets integrated into a new system, the better. Building chemistry with receivers, timing routes, understanding the offensive coordinator's vision, these things take time. And when you're talking about a veteran quarterback who could instantly change the face of the franchise, you want every possible rep with the team before training camp hits in late July, especially when it comes to syncing with players like rookie center Zach Frazier and the current receiving core. Having Rodgers present would be a game changer. Not to mention, Arthur Smith, the new offensive coordinator, is still getting a feel for how to tailor this playbook around the skill set of whoever ends up under center. If that person ends up being Rodgers, every moment they can share now would only improve their odds when it matters in September. But here's the tough reality. Life doesn't revolve around football, even for someone as competitive and legacy-driven as Aaron Rodgers. Cancer isn't on a schedule. And if the people close to him are still deep in their battle, there's no telling when or if he'll feel ready to fully commit. It's possible, even likely, that these issues are part of the reason he hasn't signed yet. And if things worsen, it could impact his ability to return at all. Some are even wondering, could this situation keep Rodgers from signing with Pittsburgh entirely? Could it delay his return past the start of the season, or even push him toward retirement? It's a fair concern. If the emotional toll becomes too great, it's not outside the realm of possibility. He's already a complex individual who has shown he values personal convictions over public pressure. If he feels like his heart and mind aren't ready, he might just walk away, at least for now. Still, there are a few signs pointing in the opposite direction, signs that Rodgers might indeed suit up this year. According to his biographer, Ian O'Connor, who claims to have a solid read on the situation, Rodgers has indicated that he plans to play this season. O'Connor suggests that the quarterback's hesitation isn't permanent, just circumstantial. Based on his sources, Rodgers has already communicated to the Steelers that he intends to play, but that he wants to wait until he's mentally ready to give them 100%. The timeline that's floating around right now suggests that we could have clarity by the end of May. O'Connor believes that Rodgers expects to have these personal matters resolved, or at least stabilized, enough to join the team and prepare for the season ahead. It's not a lock, but it's hopeful. And then there's the fact that multiple insiders are echoing this sentiment. Adam Schefter recently said that a signing within the next week is on the table. Mike Florio added that he would be surprised if Rodgers isn't at Steelers OTAs when they begin next Tuesday. So even though Rodgers hasn't said anything publicly or definitively, the growing consensus from people in the know is that a deal with Pittsburgh is likely and soon. But again, everything hinges on one very unpredictable variable: life. And life, as Rodgers reminded everyone on the Rogan podcast, is a lot bigger than football. As much as fans are anxious for updates, and as badly as Steelers Nation wants to see him in uniform, there's a human element at play here that takes precedence. This is about more than just football decisions. It's about where a person's head and heart are. And if Rodgers is still standing by loved ones going through cancer treatment, it's hard to argue against him taking whatever time he needs. Would it be great for the Steelers to have him locked in and learning the offense now? Of course. But would it be understandable for him to take another few weeks or even the entire summer to process everything and be there for his people? Absolutely. One thing we do know about Rodgers is that when he commits fully. And if he does sign with Pittsburgh, he won't be half in. He'll be ready to prove something. Not just to the critics who labeled his time in New York as a flop, but to himself. He'll want to show that he's still got it, that he can bounce back, lead a new team, and maybe even get back to the postseason. Maybe not to win a Super Bowl, sure, but certainly to restore some pride and rewrite the final chapter of his career. For now, though, all eyes are on the calendar. If the rumors are right and the sources close to him are being accurate, we could get an announcement soon, maybe even within the week. Whether it's through an official team release or one of those surprise Pat McAfee appearances that Rodgers seems to favor, don't be shocked if he breaks the silence in the coming days. And if he does, if he finally puts pen to paper and signs with the Steelers, that's going to shake things up. It would instantly elevate Pittsburgh to contender status, or at the very least inject a jolt of energy and excitement into a franchise that's been teetering on the edge of something big but lacking that final piece. Rodgers could be that piece. If he's ready, so we wait. Not just as fans of the game, but as people who understand that behind every player, there's a human being dealing with real-life challenges. Hopefully, those close to Rodgers find strength and healing in the days ahead. And hopefully, when the time is right, we'll see number 12 back on the field, focused, fired up, and ready to go. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are growing louder across the NFL landscape. And if recent murmurs are to be believed, one of the league's most seismic shifts could be on the horizon. Sources close to the situation hint at a scenario that would see the Pittsburgh Steelers land none other than Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen. A move that would send shockwaves through the entire league and alter the AFC hierarchy overnight. While no official statement has been made, insiders suggest that discussions, or at the very least strong interest, are brewing behind closed doors. The Steelers, historically known for their strategic aggression and eye for franchise-defining talent, may be preparing to make one of the boldest plays in recent memory. Allen, a cornerstone of the Bills' resurgence in recent years, has become one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL. His cannon arm, mobility, and leadership have made him the face of the franchise in Buffalo. So why would the Bills even consider letting their star quarterback go? That's the million-dollar question. Some speculate that internal tensions, strategic differences, or looming salary cap constraints could be forcing Buffalo to evaluate their long-term direction. Others believe Pittsburgh is simply pushing hard, sensing an opening, however small, to pry away a game-changing piece. For the Steelers, the acquisition of Josh Allen would instantly elevate them into Super Bowl contention. Their current roster, rich in young talent and bolstered by a stingy defense, has long been viewed as a quarterback away from serious title aspirations. Adding Allen to the mix could be the final piece of the puzzle. Of course, it's all speculation for now, but in a league where surprises are the norm and nothing is truly off the table, this rumor has the NFL world buzzing. Whether smoke leads to fire remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: if Josh Allen were ever to suit up in black and gold, the balance of power in the AFC would never be the same again. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.